look, he got millions of supporters, and he, without question, no question, Charlie Kirk had a legitimate impact on political discourse in the United States, especially amongst youth that normally would trend in the direction of, liberal politics, left politics, if you will. But Charlie, without question, used everything he had to push his agenda that, to me, was strictly based on making money. It had nothing to do with principles. And when he was constantly invoking God and talking about how I am a Christian and I am on a mission from God, it rings very hollow when you talk like this.
Who's the bad actor, Israel or Hamas?
I believe that what Hamas is doing wrong, but that's not okay for what Israel is doing to the Palestinians.
What is Israel doing exactly? Tell me in detail. Where is it happening?
Crimes,
war crimes, really? How?
What do you mean how? They're killing little kids, man.
Well, hold on. Killing kids. You mean they drop leaflets before they bomb in Gaza?
The only way that you would make this type of a statement, the leaflets comment about, well, we know we're dropping bombs on innocent children, but we gave you a flyer to let you know that we're going to drop that bomb. So in that respect, that means that Israel's innocent. I mean, isn't that what you're saying, Charlie? And remember, Charlie gets paid a lot of money to push this narrative. We saw what several people have been paid for a variety of different causes, whether for the liberal side of politics, whether for the conservative side of politics. It could be $8,000 a month. It could be $80,000 a month, depending on how big your platform is, depending on how big of a reach you have. But Charlie Kirk is certainly somebody who was paid an unbelievable amount of money. In fact, I'm just going to let you guys know where he stood upon his death. It is reported that Charlie Kirk had a personal net worth of $12 million. Now, it's possible that he had more than that. We all know that there are different holding and shell companies that these guys get their hands on. But there is nothing Christian about what he's saying. Nothing. Zero. This is a talking point USA message. It should never have been turning point. It's talking point because he's paid to talk. He's paid to say certain things. And it isn't just about Israel. He's had a history of very divisive, coercive, and controversial language. Whether it's about economics, whether it's about women, whether it's about LGBTQ individuals, whether it's about religion, whether it's about foreign policy. He played into it every day of his life. He saw what Steven Crowder was doing for the better part of several years and then decided, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to go to campuses and I'm going to share my message. I'm going to talk about why you're all wrong. Now, one thing that I do believe Charlie shared with the ultimate Israel acolyte in Ben Shapiro is that he very often only wants to communicate with people who are not necessarily all the way developed intellectually. And as a result, can in many ways run circles around them when it comes to these critical issues. People that are not prepared to talk, especially about foreign policy, can end up hurting the cause even more just because they want to get in front of a microphone and share their thoughts. The second Charlie Kirk would start espousing this message of Israel's innocent, the Palestinians are guilty by association because of Hamas, again, just an excuse to defend mass murder. You have to be able to counterpunch somebody who's putting this message out there. And you always have to have somebody else with a camera that can capture such a statement. The reason being is because somebody like Charlie Kirk is not going to capture that message. When Charlie Kirk played a clip of me talking about him, he made sure to clip exactly when I was going after him in a volatile way. It was only for about maybe 5 to 7 seconds, but he got the soundbite that he wanted to get out to his people to make me look like I'm a bad guy and that maybe I should be getting met with some type of a phone call, email, private message, maybe even a threat or two or many. But with that said, he made his career, built his career, not because he was principled, but because he was ambitious, extremely ambitious. He accomplished quite a bit in 31 years. Nothing to be proud of. Respect the grift, respect the hustle, perhaps. But again, at what cost? Think about the impact Charlie Kirk could have made on humanity if he used his platform for good. I mean, we know that billionaire corporate money would have dried up real fast. But if he was anything, again, maybe as much as anything that he has done that has probably thrown me for a loop in terms of what they've been able to get away with. We talk about the hypocrisy of liberal politics, left politics. I say scratch a liberal, a fascist will bleed. And also how the Democratic Party became the party of Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and the military-industrial complex. The biggest issue, of course, with the conservative side of politics is how they invoke God to justify their inhumanity. And he did it repeatedly. He never hesitated. He never hesitated to say that these children were not innocent, that it is not Israel's fault that they are dead. He could have easily stepped up and said, no, this is wrong. The very first clip that we did regarding Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes gained a lot of traction. And the highlight of the clip was him talking about the not even spiritual, the more like the divine connection, the scripture rights of Israel, and that they should be allowed to do as they want, and that it is necessary that they do this. And saying it very matter of fact that it was justified. There is no justification. There's no justification behind his case. I'll allow you to call people in here commies if you could at least define what a commie actually is. You probably can't even separate it from a socialist. But heck, this is the type of language that we're going to see from a lot of people. There is nothing to be celebratory about with Charlie Kirk being assassinated, but I'm not going to throw him flowers. Why does he deserve them? What about the 500,000 Palestinian children, or at least 250,000 Palestinian children that are now dead? What about them? Do they get flowers? Do they get any amount of remembrance? Or is this strictly based on how much money and power you actually have? And that's how we judge whether or not we celebrate people. How do we judge it? What did Charlie Kirk do to make humanity better? I want somebody in this chat, because we know there's already over 400 people watching, and we've only gotten on here about 20 minutes ago. Somebody in here supports Charlie Kirk. I want to know what Charlie Kirk did to make humanity better. What did he do? Just tell me. Give me anything. And in the meantime, we'll listen to more of what he had to say about his beloved state of Israel.
They warn civilian corridors before they ever engage militarily. They do emergency medical procedures for any person in Gaza that might need it. Do you understand?
That is a lie. It is a horrific lie to suggest that Israel's medical staff members, whether in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or any place in between, were helping Palestinians. They were blowing up hospitals. And you know they were, Charlie. Why lie? I mean, if you're going to say something, at least stick with, I mean, it's bullshit, but you do have that it's Hamas's fault to fall back on. But you didn't do that. What you decided to do was just tell a bunch of bullshit and say that Israel's hospital staff members were actually helping Palestinian women and children. That's what they were doing. Boy, I tell you, man, you're not smart enough to come up with that, or weren't smart enough to come up with that. Somebody had to have you say that. So when people are shedding tears, feeling bad, and wanting to understand why Charlie Kirk was assassinated and feeling terrible that it happened, I still want to know why it's such a tremendous loss. Again, I'm not wishing his death, but I'd like to know why. What did he do that was so great? Hey, I see one that's try to be a smart ass in our chat. Let's add him in. Okay, Shan Dog with the triple G. So go to Palestine. Hey, man, I would if Israel no longer existed. But I want to know from you. Tell me, what did Charlie Kirk do that was great for humanity? What did he do to make this world a better place than he left it, that he just did a few hours ago? What did he do? How did he make the world a better place? I want to know. And look, I am not somebody who's going to sit here and tell you that Charlie Kirk isn't a nice guy, that he wasn't endearing to people that they met in person when they conversed with him. There's a lot of people that are nice, and they're mass murderers. Ted Bundy is one who comes to mind. Everyone would always talk about what a charming guy Ted Bundy was. Great guy, sweet man. He murdered about 25 women, but he was a very sweet guy. You can't forget that. That's important to know. That's important to remember. It isn't about how many people he killed or how many people he's responsible for killing. It's about the fact that he made you feel good. In that moment, anyway. But you turn your back, no, you won't even see it coming. Charlie's got more to say.
No, it's
Okay,
actually
they're doing good, but it's okay for them to do bad then. That's what
it's
you're
called
basically
war,
saying.
okay? And in war, sometimes
War,
bad things happen.
But it's
This is not a war. This is a genocide, and you were without question. No questions asked. I don't care who the hell in this chat supports you. Charlie Kirk aided and abetted this genocide by using his platform to push pro-Israel narrative. His reach is very wide. Charlie Kirk reaches millions of people. He has the ear of the President of the United States. Charlie Kirk was a warrior. He's a legend. He was a great person. We are, in fact, lowering the flags to half-mast here and all over the United States. What, you mean like you did for Rush Limbaugh? I need to understand why, once again, what it is that Charlie Kirk has done that has made him this wonderful, grandiose content creator who actually gave back to humanity and made things better. I'm still waiting. I haven't seen anything in the chat. We've got a lot of people chatting now. Toss me a 99-cent super chat. Let me know your thought. Let me know what he did that was so great, that made this world better. I got to know because I'm dying to know. I'm really anti-Israel? Oh, you better believe I am. I don't support genocide. I don't support a foreign nation controlling our government. I don't support a supremacist ideology. And neither should you. And I don't give a flying fuck what your religion is or what you believe in. Because the teachings of Jesus Christ is completely juxtaposed to anything that the so-called Christians believe, to the so-called Zionists believe. It's all bullshit. You are either on the side of justice or you're on the side of treachery. Charlie made his decision. He had to know that by doing what he was doing was putting himself in harm's way. There is no getting around that. The only message that I put out there today regarding this is simply this. To anyone else out there, I'm talking all of you. It could be David Pakman. It could be Ben Shapiro. It could be Benny Johnson. It could be Brian Tyler Cohen. It could be Brandon Tatum. It could be Insurrection Barbie. I can keep going, but you get my point. And I'm not even getting to the federally elected representatives. For any of you with a large platform that is going to continue to push this genocidal narrative at the risk of sinking our nation further into the abyss, as Charlie Kirk did, you should really consider whether you're making the right decision for your career as much as your life. It's a big risk. Because I am telling you unequivocally, I saw what I needed to see. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. One shot right through his neck, right through his main artery. He was dead within seconds. Whoever did it, and they did it with a high-powered rifle from a distance, very similar to what they tried to do with Trump. I am not going to get into whether this is an MK Ultra thing or a false flag. What I will tell you is that I saw with my own two eyes what I saw. This wasn't some rando who got close and got lucky. This was 1,000% planned, executed to a T. And I don't care what Kash Patel says, they're going to placate and convince you that whoever did this is in custody, will be dealt with accordingly, and that's it. Man, somebody's having a sneeze attack outside my apartment complex. 1,000%, Benny. He absolutely was killed. And again, whether or not the guy got away, it's kind of irrelevant. It doesn't matter if he got away. What matters is that it's kind of like asking yourself, does it matter who shot JFK? Does it matter? I would say, yes. Do you want to know for certain who killed JFK? Yes, I do. Do I think whoever killed JFK did it on their own volition? Or do I think that they were ultimately positioned to do such a thing because the powers that be wanted it done? That's more important. Just as Fletcher Prouty, who was played by Donald Sutherland in JFK, it isn't necessarily the who, it's the why. Why was he killed? Why was Charlie Kirk killed? To me, the most logical explanation, he was sacrificed. For what? I'm not sure. But if you look at the language that is being used by a lot of these hardcore conservative accounts, you know what I see? I see the type of language that's pushing Palantir level talking points. That's what I see. The goal is to turn this nation into a police state. That's the goal. And that, without a shadow of a doubt, will use Charlie's death in a form of martyrdom in order to continue to push it. That's what this is.
Who started this? It's not a war crime. This? It's not a war crime. Throwing around war crime is a ridiculous. You know what a war crime is? A war crime is going into
killing children
kibbutzes.
is a war crime.
Going into kibbutzes, going into the Nova Music Festival, going into people's places of residences on October 7th, and putting.
So okay, you guys keep bringing up October 7th. You guys are doing bad.
Yeah, it's pretty important.
Yeah, so is what's happened for the last 2 years. As a matter of fact, we are less than a month away from the 2-year anniversary of a genocide that will not end. And you were a big part of it. You pushed it repeatedly, without hesitation. And when somebody as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as Nick Fuentes might be, who is pushing a free Palestine narrative and you refuse to speak with him, again, the only reason you would do that is because you don't have a leg to stand on, or now do not have a leg to stand on. You never did. You did it for the money. You did it for the power. You didn't do it because you believed in anything. You did it because you thought it was better for your career. That's why you did it.
Okay.
If you're going to all of a sudden attack Jews on their holiest day of the interior of Israel, expect a whirlwind and don't complain about it when it comes forward.
And once again, it's about the Jews, right? Now it's the Jews, not about the Zionists or the Zionist genocidal state of Israel. It's about the Jews. You know why? Because talking like that adds to the anti-Semitism. That's what it does. He knows this. And it makes him more money. Again, that's a good one. Make a deal with the devil will eventually come to collect. Today he came to collect.
So what's happening is that basically what Israel doing is bad. Hamas is doing is bad. Okay?
I'm not even contending what Israel is doing is bad.
So what Israel doing isn't bad. Killing children isn't bad is what you're saying?
Hold on a second, but you have to go instance by...
Is it or not?
I
need a yes
are
or
they
no.
intentionally killing kids? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, they are not.
So why
that is
are there so many
BS.
dead kids? Why are you...
I'll finish this.
Good question. Why are there dead kids? Do you think Israel sits around and they say, how do we kill more kids in Gaza today?
Yes, they do. You sicko.
I mean, so why are they killing kids then?
Exactly. Let's think. Maybe it's because Hamas uses the kids as human shields on top.
That has already been proven to be false, time and again. Israel uses children as human shields. They do it in Tel Aviv all the time. We know that. Just like they say that Israel has, or that Hamas has 50 hostages still. Well, you know how many hostages Israel has? Over 10,000. Remember, it isn't about whether or not you believe what is right or what is wrong. It matters whether or not you can see the forest through the trees. I think some of the course of language regarding racism, sexism, a lot of these things is overblown. But if there's one thing we know, is that whether they believe their language or not, they'll push it because it creates controversy. Charlie was great at that. Pushing controversy gets clicks, gets people to talk, and gets people to get all riled up like this guy is riled up, rightfully so, but he was not prepared to deal with this, to counterpunch Charlie.
Top of their military bases. Maybe that's why. Maybe because the people of Hamas have no concern for the life of their own people.
He used this language repeatedly. And for those of you who are new here, you can check out the clip that we did of Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes from about a month ago. You will see exactly what we're talking about, how this came about, how he would talk about Israel, why this was such a big deal. Okay, why do you stand with Charlie? What's so great about Charlie Kirk? What was, so great about Charlie Kirk? I want to know what he did that made this world a better place. That's what I want to know. I am not here. I am not dancing on his grave. I am simply telling people that if you are going to say that Charlie Kirk was this great man and that he must be celebrated, then explain to me What it is exactly did he do that made it great?